and balances, so did the U.S. Constitution. One man, one vote. Same in the U.S. Constitution.
13 of the 39 signers of the Constitution were Masons. It's not important that Freemasons made up a bulk of the Founding Fathers. What is important is that Freemasonry was influencing so many of them.
The idealized portraits of the constitutional conventions don't capture what was really going on. The men in the portraits of this gathering are solemn, reverent, civil. But in reality, there was fighting, gossiping, backdoor deals, and all in total lockdown. The Masonic ideal was in place, secrecy at all costs. It was as if they would stop at nothing to realize their vision of a new world order.
They kept it secret to the point where they boarded up the windows, kept the windows closed, kept the doors locked.
It was hot. Personal hygiene was at a minimum, and those wigs and waistcoats were uncomfortable. There were hordes of mosquitoes. The hall was noisy, choked with smoke, and people were sleep deprived.
You know, you don't do your best thinking when you're tired.
Cranky Founding Fathers were suspicious, even of each other.
Washington had sentries placed around Independence Hall to make sure nobody was listening. You could easily call the Constitutional Convention a conspiracy.
And one Founding Father required special attention. Benjamin Franklin was secretly followed by spies working for the other Founding Fathers because Franklin talked too much in public about top-secret political matters.
And so there was always a delegate with Ben Franklin when he went out to just make sure he didn't spill the beans on the entire enterprise.
According to some, the real conspiracy at the heart of the convention was not nearly so benign. It was the wording in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18.
Congress shall have the power to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever. Notice those are the exact same words as are in the Declaration, to be the very definition of tyranny. And yet 11 years later, the same Masons are now giving that power to Congress. They gave Congress tyrannical power. That's why they did it in secret.
And when it came time to sign the nation's most important document, was the date of the signing delayed to coincide with a mysterious force secretly guiding the Founding Fathers? Was it a coincidence they delayed the signing until Venus was in an astrologically favorable position?
Venus and Mercury were rising in Virgo at that time. I think that date was very auspicious for them. This isn't something that happens very often at all. They pick their days very, very carefully.
And when the first president of the United States was sworn in 18 months later, those same mysterious forces were still in play behind the scenes. George Washington was sworn in on April 30th, 1789. After taking the oath of office, he bent down and kissed the Bible. The Bible came from the Capitol's closest Masonic chapter, St. John's Lodge. But more importantly, the act of kissing the Bible comes directly from the secret Masonic initiation ritual.
He is certainly not someone who was ashamed of that. He is willing to do this publicly, you know, during his presidency, so it's clearly significant for him.
Washington took his Masonic connection a step further by posing for an official presidential portrait in full Masonic regalia. And when it came time to select the symbols for the new United States of America, striking similarities emerged. Had it all been planned this way from the very beginning?
What these families were trying to do was create a world order the true sense of the word, ordered.
Were the Founding Fathers stealing from the playbook of the Freemasons to signal the establishment of this new world order?
When it comes to secrecy and conspiracy, we come to the Holy Grail, the Great Seal of the United States.
Yeah, make money for trips, not for sitting around.
How far will Lisa go before she goes too far?
We're going right into the mouth of the monster.
An all-new Ice Road Truckers, tomorrow at 9. History made every day.
I want to ride. I want to ride. I want to ride.
I want to ride.
I want to ride.
It's never been easier to get on a Honda with fixed financing rates as low as 0.99%. Up to $2,500 in bonus bucks and much more right now at your local Honda dealer.
These hands aren't just the takers of pictures or the creators of videos. They're the makers of art. So go ahead, make art. Pro quality, point-and-shoot simplicity, HD video, all in one. The Olympus Pen.
Everyone, I just saved a customer tons of money on his car insurance. So from now on, I'd like to be known as the Saver.
You know, the insurance site gives out discounts every day. Should we call the website the Saver?
Website already has the nickname, people.
Which is?
Fred.
So you're the Saver. While the website, which gives out thousands of discounts every day, is called Fred.
Hey, Saver.
Yeah, that just happened.
Call today or go to esurance.com.
These are the new Bose Quiet Comfort 15 noise-canceling headphones, engineered to make air travel quieter, more relaxing, and to make listening to music more enjoyable. Bose was the first to introduce noise-canceling headphones over 20 years ago, and now QC15 headphones set an entirely new standard. Seth Porges of Popular Mechanics states that compared to the competition, the QC15s are vastly superior. Mark A. Kellner of the Washington Times says they reproduce music with extreme clarity, fidelity, and definition. And with a very comfortable fit, you won't find any other headphones like them. When you fly, engine roar fades away. You'll also hear a lifelike music reproduction you may never have experienced. Try QC15 headphones for 30 days risk-free with free shipping. Compare them to any other headphones and judge for yourself. New Quiet Comfort 15 headphones. Performance that's only from Bose.
An engine that creates more power, yet uses less fuel. The world's first blind spot intervention system. Four-wheel active steering. If technology is a measure of luxury, the all-new Infiniti M may be the most luxurious car on the road. This is inspired performance. This is the way of Infiniti. Now lease an Infiniti M for $579 a month.
This is data. Data generated by people moving through a city. People in cars, on trains, on buses. When you can see data as it happens, it can help cut commute times by 50%, reduce carbon emissions by 14%. On a smarter planet, we can capture, analyze, and use data in new ways to do what they're doing in places like Singapore and Stockholm, and build a smarter transportation system. Let's build a smarter planet.
The single most mysterious American icon is the Great Seal of the United States. The symbols of an unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye, unlucky number 13 in arrows, leaves, stripes. Latin phrases that seem to hint at a nefarious new world order. All of it together seems to point to a strange, almost occult connection. It is a connection made between the Great Seal and Freemasonry. Is the seal proof of a Masonic conspiracy?
Unfortunately, the Great Seal is one of the least Masonic symbols you could probably find.
Of the dozen or so people who were involved in the design committees for the Great Seal, only one, Benjamin Franklin, was a Mason, and no one liked the design he and Thomas Jefferson came up with.
And they came up with a concept that involved an Egyptian pharaoh chasing the Israelites across the Red Sea and a column of fire, meaning divine intervention, that God intervened and saved us in a difficult situation. The motto was, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God."
Everyone hated it, except Thomas Jefferson, who adopted the motto for his own personal seal. The Great Seal required congressional authorization, and getting anything past an entire Congress takes time.
It would take 6 years and 3 different committees to get this done. But when it was finally done, it represented what we thought America's ideals were.
The front of the seal is called the obverse, the side most commonly seen, and the side imprinted on America's most precious documents. The symbols of an eagle, arrows, and an olive branch, a shield of stripes, and a heavenly crown of stars, enduring American symbols, are familiar to us now. But this obverse wasn't adopted until 100 years after the design the Founding Fathers agreed on, in 1782.
This is the first Great Seal of the United States, created and approved on August the 20th, 1782. And I want you to note these 6-pointed stars. This did not happen. It did not reoccur with the other seals that were created afterward.
In heraldry, a 6-pointed star represents the heavens, a 5-pointed star, the earth. What secret hand wanted to take our national symbol out of the spiritual realm is unknown. The original bird was also distinctly different.
In actuality, of course, it is an American eagle, but it was an American bald eagle. You can see here that the eagle's neck is elongated, and that's why a lot of people thought that this wasn't an eagle, but a phoenix, especially when you see a little tuft of hair. But many eagles have that tuft of hair, except for the bald eagle.
But not everyone sees the symbols as simply patriotic.
Those symbols reveal our future, and I call it America's secret destiny. And I started becoming concerned about that. And when I did, I found the trackings of the Masonic Lodge.
Look carefully at the eagle.
If you look at the eagle's left wing and count the feathers on that wing, there's 32 of them. And on the right wing, there's 33. The eagle doesn't have odd number of feathers. That's not by accident, that's by design. And you'll notice that it's the right wing of the eagle that the eagle's looking towards, and that's the one with 33 on it. And the 33rd degree inside the Masonic Lodge runs the whole thing worldwide.
Is this a secret symbol that 33 is the only right number? Is it a coincidence that the 33rd degree is the highest level a Freemason can attain? And as far as numbers go, the startling use of the number 13 also seems to be about more than just a tribute to the original colonies.
The Masons discuss the mystical number 13. It's significant to them. The people that founded this nation knew that the number 13 had Masonic significance, and it was the Masons who set this nation up. There are 13 leaves in the olive branches in the Great Seal, 13 bars and stripes, 13 arrows, 13 stars in the crest. The American eagle is our national bird. Those two words, American eagle, have 13 letters. The words E pluribus unum also have 13 letters. The two words annuit septus have 13 letters.
The 13 letters in annuit coeptis is only the beginning of the controversy surrounding the reverse of the Great Seal. The unfinished pyramid and all-seeing eye have been identified with the Freemasons for centuries.
The pyramid represents this conspiracy that the Masons are part of a 6,000-year-old religion called the Ancient Mystery Religion. This is not something just popped up in 1776. This is 6,000 years old.
A secret message perhaps linked to the original star families, or what is also called the Order of the Quest.
The Order of the Quest that came here in the 1600s They teach their children, who teach their children, who teach their children, and it passes on from generation to generation.
Naysayers point out the pyramid and all-seeing eye didn't appear publicly on money until the 20th century, diluting the symbol's real influence. But this is the same symbol printed on a US $40 note, dated 1778.
The first time we see the all-seeing eye is on the $40 note, where the eye is depicted looking down on 13 stars, representing 13 colonies. And on that note is Confederation. The pyramid first makes its appearance on the $50 bill. And it is a pyramid composed of 13 steps. It's not finished. The Latin translates to everlasting. So what we're getting is clues about what they were thinking, that we want to build something permanent out of these 13 colonies.
And who designed and printed these banknotes? Freemason Benjamin Franklin.
Problem is, the unfinished pyramid isn't a Masonic symbol. It does not appear anywhere in Freemasonry.
Except on the top of the headquarters of the Supreme Council of Scottish Rite Freemasonry.
Conspiracy theorists frequently point to this building, the headquarters of the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, as part of this big Masonic conspiracy because the roof has an unfinished pyramid on it. Well, it really isn't an unfinished pyramid. This building is actually designed after the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
The symbols of Egypt are symbols of timelessness. The pyramids have endured for ages. The Sphinx has endured for ages. A symbol of human accomplishment that is enduring. And in that sense, the pyramid and Egyptian symbology is very useful in teaching those lessons.
But look closely, because there is one secret in this building that does, without a doubt, reveal the Masons' power over the government.
Because 33 is a symbolic number within Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the Supreme Council worked with the post office to sort of rejigger the addresses here so that 33 would actually be in the street number.
The pyramid may not be an official Masonic symbol, but the all-seeing eye is clearly part of Masonic symbology, adorning paintings and Masonic regalia, including Washington's Mason's apron.
It's a great way to demonstrate the all-seeing power of God looking over the world. I find it curious that people try and make that into something sinister.
The all-seeing eye, according to the Masons, stands for the ubiquity of Masonic law, which means it's worldwide. The eye sees everything everywhere, and you can't hide from the Masons. When you join the Masons, you do it for life. You can't avoid it or escape it. It's there, and it is.
If it is not a Masonic directive, then where did Benjamin Franklin get the inspiration for these designs?
Many of them were taken from a book printed in the 1600s, a European book that Franklin had in his library.
The real secret, say experts, is that original designs were expensive and printers were cheap. They stole designs out of this early American version of clip art, a real book of secrets, so to speak.
The symbols on the Great Seal look spooky now, but they weren't spooky then. We are imposing our own meanings on them and giving them a nefarious quality that really is not based in reality.
But claims of a worldwide Masonic conspiracy persist to this day.
They put those symbols in there so that other Masons can see it and they can use it as a way of saying, listen, we're the ones that set this nation on a course for America's secret destiny, which is the Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order.
Further evidence comes in the form of a puzzle within the Great Seal. Look at the 13 stars above the eagle's head. Use them to draw a 6-pointed star. Now transfer that star to the unfinished pyramid on the reverse. 5 of the points point to the letters A, S, N, O, and M.
If you take A, S, N, O, M and re-scramble it, you get M, A, S, O, N, which clearly shows that the Masons have concealed their involvement in writing and designing the Great Seal of the United States.
Pretty creepy stuff. Of course, you can also make Ottoman, despot, accordionist, misconception. You can make a lot of words using the letters of the motto on the Great Seal.
The secret message, M-A-S-O-N, however, is clearly there, and not all Freemasons are privy to the inner circle who placed it there.
People that you interview that are Masons won't tell you about the second layer because they know about it, and they are sworn by an oath that they are not to reveal any secrets or details of this second layer. Our founding fathers were part of an ancient, I'll use the word conspiracy, and they knew about it, and they committed this nation to a furtherance of that.
There are two types of people that promote this theory. One are the conspiracists that always want to see someone else responsible for their problems. And the other people, sadly, are misinformed Masons. Because it is with some pride you can draw out a dollar bill, point to the Great Seal on the back and say, you see the eye? My fraternity was responsible for that. Well-intentioned, but uninformed.
The seal is a clue to what the Founding Fathers wanted to say about America. And other clues are hidden everywhere in Washington, D.C., hidden in plain sight. This is the city the founders designed from scratch. A sandbox they could fill up with symbols, signs, and secrets.
If you look at the entire map of it by itself, you can see squares and compasses everywhere.
This is the card that bought the saw.
That cut the lumber.
That built the extra space I needed to store more produce.
That she sold to me to make my menu more organic.
Introducing Ink from Chase, the card that helped make it all happen. Because it's accepted in twice as many places worldwide as American Express, with reward points worth 25% more when redeemed for air travel. Make your mark with Ink. Go to chase.com/ink. Chase what matters.
Okay, one more time. Where do we stand?
Less travel. More video conferences.
Limit the cell phone minutes.
That's not good enough. We're not leaving this room unless we can cut something else.
Can they really keep us here?
What about all this stuff?
What stuff?
All this stuff. What does it cost to create all this? Time, effort, people.
How much?
It could be millions.
Millions.
Save money. Trust your business processes to Xerox. Xerox, ready for real business.
It can happen anytime, when you least expect it. A regular moment can become romantic. And when it does, men with erectile dysfunction can be more confident in their ability to be ready with Cialis. With 2 clinically proven dosing options, you can choose the moment that's right for you and your partner. 36-hour Cialis and Cialis for daily use. Cialis for daily use is a low-dose tablet you take every day, so you can be ready anytime the moment's right.
Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity.
Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure.
Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
36-hour Cialis or Cialis for daily use. Ask your doctor if Cialis is right for you. You can be ready for your moment with Cialis.
When you work with your father, every day is a gift.
You took it like a champ.
I love him to death. I hope he don't kill me.
But this Father's Day, give him something other than a hard time. Get your dad DVDs and gear from his favorite shows at shophistorygifts.com.
In the grip of arthritis pain, nagging back pain, joint pain, break the grip with Aspercreme. Its maximum strength medicine relieves your pain, and there's no embarrassing odor. Break the grip of pain with odor-free Aspercreme.
They itch, sweat, burn, smell. You could have foot dermatitis. It's what Gold Bond medicated foot powder was made for. Medicated to tackle the itch. Keeps feet dry. Look for the healing seal. Gold Bond foot powder. Works as hard as your feet.
My name is Yvonne, and I'm from San Francisco, California. I feel that my Toyota has been the perfect purchase for our family.
What I like about it, first and foremost, is the fuel economy. We compete over who gets the best gas mileage.
She's cheating somehow, but I don't know how she does it.
Start saving today in a fuel-efficient Corolla. Now with 0% APR financing or $750 cash back. Or get a special low lease and pay just $169 a month.
This could bring peace to your pawn shop.
I find that hard to believe.
New things.
Did you buy this? It's fake.
More history.
I think the blade is from the late 18th century.
Pawn Stars, Monday at 10 on History. Made every day.
In 1789, the design and construction of the federal city, the new nation's capital, began. As president and the most powerful Freemason in the land, George Washington had the power to mold the nation's capital to his will.
He was given a complete wilderness and the opportunity to start from scratch to build one of the great capitals of the world.
The first step was to set boundary markers for what came to be known as the District of Columbia. The district was set up like a diamond, 10 miles on a side. New boundary markers were laid every mile along its borders. Some boundary markers are still there.
The boundary markers became the very first national monuments.
The most important, the southernmost stone in Alexandria, Virginia, was laid first. It was done with great fanfare and ceremony, a Masonic ceremony.
On March 15, 1791, the Freemasons formed a procession here in front of Gadsby's Tavern to go and march south to where the foundation stone of the District of Columbia would be laid. Gadsby's was the center of social life in Alexandria. It was really built by speculators who thought that the federal city would be centered right here. And so Gadsby's was really the only game in town to go to.
The procession worked its way to the water's edge, and with Masonic jewels of office glittering in the sun, and a silver trowel to set the stone, the country's first national monument was set into place. Today, the stone is almost impossible to find amid the trash and tide.
It's fitting that the first secret of Washington, D.C. is actually this foundation stone. It sits forgotten along the banks of the river, buried underneath this lighthouse with nothing to show you where it is. In its time, it was the most important thing for the founding of this great city, and now it sits here long forgotten.
The design for the city's streets and monuments was put in the hands of Pierre-Charles L'Enfant. L'Enfant was not a mason, but his design of a grid pattern overlaid with circles and diagonals has fueled 2 centuries of speculation about what secret messages are hidden in the streets of D.C. The largest and most pronounced is the Masonic symbol of the square and compass. The square overlays the streets bordering the Capitol building, and the 2 legs of the compass lead along Maryland Avenue in the direction of the Jefferson Memorial and Pennsylvania Avenue, leading directly to the White House.
If you look at the entire map of it by itself, you can see squares and compasses everywhere. In fact, there's a 5-pointed star over the White House.
It's ridiculous to think that the Masons designed the square and compass into the streets here because, number one, the square wasn't even here. Those 2 streets weren't even here, and they don't even form a square. It's an 85-degree angle. It's ridiculous.
The square and the compass and the star are not complete, and that's true. And that's what the Masons tell you. And that is their way that they can get us to believe that it's not real when it really is. And I'm saying that this was all by design.
If you design a grid pattern and then start putting diagonal lines across that grid pattern, it's inevitable that you will start making Stars of David, you'll make pentagrams, you'll have these odd angles. This was not some sort of evil, dark, satanic design.
The Masonic Temple, the 33rd degree Masonic Temple, is exactly 13 blocks north of the White House. I don't think that's a coincidence.
And not every scholar rules out the possibility that the designs are intentional.
The pentagram, which in our mindset has an evil connotation, to an Enlightenment architect would be a symbol of balance. And if you could put that into a street plan that was to create a rational federal city that would be the seat of rational government, so much the better. So even if there is intention behind it, it is not necessarily bad or evil intention.
The only thing I see satanic in the street plans of Washington are the traffic circles when you try to navigate them in rush hour.
At least one geometric design was specifically laid out by L'Enfant with Washington's approval. It is the Federal Triangle.
We're at the heart, the very foundation of the design of Washington, D.C., with the Capitol building to my left. We're standing at the Washington Monument, and behind me is the White House. And from these three buildings, the entire city of Washington, D.C. was planned. Charles L'Enfant laid it out basically to mean the Pythagorean right triangle, which contains a very sacred formula for beauty and the foundation of architecture.
The formula is called the Golden Ratio, the ratio of 1 to 1.61803. It is a formula artists have secretly used for eons to create the world's most aesthetically pleasing monuments and buildings, everything from the Parthenon to our nation's most important monuments.
That was a sacred formula, and it was kept secret.
There are also secrets in each of the three buildings that make up the Federal Triangle. The White House was designed by James Hoban, a Freemason in Washington's Lodge. Some believe Hoban's design of the White House was inspired by the chapel at Roslyn, the chapel where the Knights Templar supposedly buried their secrets. Secrets that George Washington has access to as a descendant of these so-called star families. The Washington Monuments architect, Robert Mills, a Freemason, based his design on an ancient Egyptian symbol of power, the obelisk. The Washington Monument symbolism has been hotly debated since its erection in 1848.
Fundamentalists thought anything that is a penis that sticks up out of the ground this high is trying to pull down the energies from above into the earth. So their feeling was some occult black magic was being performed by those who created this monument intentionally.
Provocative theories aside, this is one place where Masonic influence seems undeniable. Its height is exactly 555 feet.
555 to the Freemasons symbolizes the builder, and George Washington is the builder of our country. So I think symbolically, this is one of the most fantastic of all of the symbols that we have for the United States.
And at the top, a 13-step pyramid. But this one is completed.
To them, they were saying George Washington completed his work.
The Capitol, the third point in the sacred Federal Triangle, has its very origin in a Masonic ceremony.
For a group that gets labeled as a secret society, the cornerstone ceremonies are very, very public affairs.
Perhaps the most significant Masonic event in this country was the laying of the cornerstone of the United States Capitol in 1793, only a few years after the Revolution. And presiding over that impressive ceremony was George Washington, wearing his master's apron.
The first great building of the new nation, what Thomas Jefferson calls the first temple dedicated to the sovereignty of the people. The Masons are the people who are dedicating it. You don't have an aristocracy. You don't have a monarch. So Freemasons become the leaders of this nation.
They were all dressed in their Masonic aprons. Special tools had been crafted just for this occasion. A trowel made out of silver was used to spread the cement on the cornerstone. A special gavel was made out of marble to ceremonially tap the cornerstone into place. They knew what they were doing was a very, very important moment in the construction of the city.
And where is that most important cornerstone today?
The only real secret about the cornerstone today is that we don't know where it is. It's been lost. It's buried up there somewhere in the foundation of the north wing, and it's been lost because of so many remodelings that have been done over the years.
And if there is finally a book of secrets, our national treasure, that will once and for all unravel the mysteries and end the debate, it should be here. The Library of Congress.
It is the largest library in the world. We have well over 140 million items here. Many of the materials that we would associate with the beginnings of this country are in fact housed at the Library of Congress.
The reason why America has the world's largest repository of information is because of this founding father.
Thomas Jefferson sold his book collection to the American people for whatever price Congress was willing to pay. His collection was massive, 6,487 volumes. It was essentially the Enlightenment in all areas, all subjects, and it really set the path for the current Library of Congress.
The founding fathers have their personal and presidential papers here. There are diaries, calendars, and letters. Many secrets are hidden here. But where is the master key that will turn all the locks of American history?
There's a notion that hidden away in the Library of Congress is what is called the Book of Secrets, detailing the truth behind many incidents and secrets that have been part of our nation's history. I'm here to tell you that we indeed do have a Book of Secrets. Unfortunately, this is a self-help book published in 1902 that tells you how to guide yourself through the world and doesn't answer any of the questions you'd like it to answer. The real truth is that there is no Book of Secrets here at the Library of Congress.
Or is there?
I would suggest that the entire Library of Congress could be seen as the Book of Secrets, because in our collections, our vast collections, from the beginning of the founding of the nation forward, we have the materials that are about the shaping and building and experience of the American people. And I think almost any question that one approaches our collections with can find an answer.
Without a single book of secrets, we're left to find the threads of knowledge and the secret symbols where we can, to weave our own fabric of America. Secret societies, personal secrets, and taboo passions. Family history dissolving into whispers.